everyone, first I wanted to say Conference was a blast. I got to explore the Museum of Nature in Ottawa, an insectarium, and meet lots of great people. What an adventure. Without further ado, welcome to Diversity of Life episode 9 with me, Nasi. I had so much fun doing the con-themed episode last time that I wanted to do it again. I'll be attending Midwest Furfest next week, and the theme of the con is Brothers Grimm fairy tales. I hosted a poll on my Twitter to see which biology-related story you wanted me to explore, and you chose The Queen Bee. I'll put a link in the description down below of the story if you want to read before you continue any further in the episode. Growing up, I always loved the Brothers Grimm fairy tales. The gothic themes, life lessons, and downright weird folktales have always fascinated me. The Queen Bee is no different, with some strange family drama, but also some interesting roots in environmental awareness and hints at our progress towards our understanding of nature. The Queen Bee was published in the Brothers Grimm's Children and Household Tales, Volume 1, Stories 62 and 1812. The origins of the story are much older though. It has its roots in a Hungarian fairy tale called The Grateful Beasts. The story was adapted many times, but all keeping with the same general message. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. For a quick summary of the story's plot, it goes something like this. The story follows 3 brothers. The 2 eldest seek fortune, but find only misfortune. The 3rd youngest brother goes to find his brothers only to get laughed at by them because of his lack of understanding of the world in general. They go on a journey together, during which the oldest brothers try to be cruel to 3 different animals, an ant colony, ducks, and a bee colony. Each time the younger brother stops them, remarking on how there is no need to be so cruel, as they're not hurting you. The 3 brothers then happen upon a castle, which is under a spell. There are instructions on how to undo the spell, which each brother sets out to do. However, the tasks are impossible for one man, so the 2 oldest brothers fail and are turned to stone. When the youngest brother would give up, he is helped by the 3 animals he saved from his brothers. Because of this, the spell in the castle is broken, and each, don't ask me why the oldest brothers do, but get a girl, and the kingdom. While it's true that the root of the meaning in the story lies in do unto others as you would have them do unto you, I think there's something to be said about treating nature with respect. I think there are 2 aspects of this within the story, between the Brothers Grimm's take on the story and the original folklore. In the original, the ending is much darker. It's not just the spell that's broken, but the king gets ripped apart by some wolves. I think this is a neat difference. Sure, the brothers could have tried to soften this within this tale to make it more of a household appropriate story, but they don't really do that in any of the other stories, so I don't see why they should have done it with this one. I think the reason for this lies in more of the changing perception of nature around the story. In the original, it's more about fearing nature, that nature is something greater or stronger, and the respect for nature is built on that. But in the Brothers Grimm tale, I think that it speaks to the beauty of nature and respecting it for its greatness, almost a shift in how humans perceive themselves in regards to nature and in the greater food chain. They were collecting these folktales during a time when humans were in a boom of scientific discovery. When they were exploring and discovering nature, nature was becoming something that wasn't foreign. It was something that was conquered and understood. The shift in the tone of writing is evident in the broader literature as well. We start to see that nature is something not to be feared, but is our origins. It's raw and beautiful. We start to see ourselves separate from it. We see some philosophical works come about that separate us from nature and that we are more the custodians of the world. The Renaissance and the creation of the modern scientific method does a lot to bring this about. We see this come to full fruition in the modern era. With the environmental push from the 1970s brought about by the harsh realities of fossil fuels, DDT, climate change, all brought to public awareness by Rachel Carson's Silent Spring and Al Gore. There is a strong resurgence of the themes we see in The Queen Bee throughout this era, and that we should protect and respect nature for the beauty and for what it can do for us. On that note, I kind of like to think that there's a plug for ecosystem services that are provided by ants, but I think that's a bit of a stretch. Another fascinating thing about the Brothers Grimm version of this tale is its connection to life history and ecology of the 3 animals that they look at in the story. With each of the 3 animals, there is a little attention to detail that might have been lost in older tellings of this story. For instance, within the story there is a comment on ants scrambling to move eggs. There is also an incorporation of the duck's feeding methods, and not only on how bees nest, but that there is a discernible taste between the types of honey, and that bees are likely able to detect this. It may seem like silly little details to touch on, but it does speak to the fact that these facts about biology, even the ones from the little creatures of the world, were being documented back then. While reading this story, I couldn't help but feel connected to the youngest brother. Even while he was regarded as a simple and dwarfed person by his brothers and others, he cared and paid attention to the details of the small creatures and their lives. It really made me think of a little me looking for ants on the playground. I hope you liked this week's episode. It was a little different, but I thought it would be fun to lead up to MFF. As always, I want to hear from you. Was I kind of making a stretch with the story? Have you read it, or do you want to read it now? Who am I going to see at MFF? Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you heard here, please hit the like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. And if you want to see more of my furry antics, follow me on Twitter. Hope to see you guys next time. See you later.